African Transformation Movement will celebrate its 5th birthday with an election campaign launched in Gqeberha this weekend. Ahead of that, the party is hosting a gala dinner this afternoon to raise funds for the campaign. The ATM was recently hit by the departure of Mzwanele Manyi, who joined the EFF. But party leader Vuyozungula says it continues to grow across the country. Newzroom Afrika's reporter Govan Whittles is in Gqeberha for us and joins us now ahead of that gala dinner. Govan, thanks for making time. So let's reflect on the state of the ATM now as it turns 5.
Thank you, Clement. The ATM will be contesting its second election in 2024. It's come to Gqeberha to host its birthday party, but also launch its election campaign. It's booked out the Nelson Mandela Base Stadium. It's a huge facility, and it hopes to get thousands of people in there to demonstrate its support. We understand they'll be bringing people from across the country. But as it turns 5, the ATM has really started to develop characteristics that South Africans start to identify the party with. The president of the ATM is Vuyozungula, who joins us just to reflect a bit on the party's performance and also some of the latest developments. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Zungula. So the ATM turns 5 years old. You'll be hosted by the 12 Apostle Church in Christ at this gala dinner a little bit later on. That really is the foundation of the party. How has it grown since it was started?
The ATM has grown very well for the past 5 years. And you know, this gala dinner actually answers the question as to who funds us. There's a lot of people with interest as to where do we get the money to campaign, where do we get the money to actually register for the elections. It is such initiatives whereby we've got churches that are in support of us as a party, that have gala dinners to fundraise for the sole purpose of funding the ATM programs. Also, if you look at our track record for the past 5 years in Parliament, you know, we've done quite well as a party with only 2 seats, simply because we did not subscribe to the notion that a party with 1 or 2 seats must just follow the lead from the bigger parties. We stood our ground on issues that we strongly believed in, and that is what has made South Africans to further enjoy listening to the ATM and further want to be associated with the party.
The ATM is perceived as a party whose support is based within the 12 Apostles Church in Christ. Have you been able to branch it out, or is that still the core of your support?
Look, the core of the support of the ATM, it is predominantly churches, TACC included, other Zionist churches. However, we've been a party that has grown so much effect that even traditional leadership, traditional communities have said they want to be part of the ATM. So we're not a party that is confined to only one church organization, but we're a party that is receiving support from all sectors of society in our country.
Let's talk about the figures in the party a little bit. The TACC Church, just for context, has about 4 million members. You're the face of the ATM, but for a long time it was associated with Mzwanele Manyi, who's left now. What did you make of his decision to leave? Was that a blow for the party?
Look, Mr. Mzwanele Manyi leaving also answered another question. There was a question whether he was the one that formed the ATM, he was the one that was funding the ATM, and we're at pains for the longest of time trying to explain to the people. He joined the party. The party is bigger than all of us, even me. The party is bigger than me as a person. So him leaving was more about him wanting to further contribute to society in another party, and less about us in terms of that we're not doing well, because clearly in his statement he was saying that the party is doing well, it is growing, but he feels he's going to add some value that side. But we as the ATM, we are growing. That is why we have such events. Even tomorrow, we are going to see the stadium tomorrow. It's going to signal that ATM is indeed alive and growing.
Well, there were also claims that the party was formed in collaboration with Ace Magashule. We've spoken to him outside the Bloemfontein High Court. He says he's been consulting churches across the country. Could you be welcoming him into your party?
We've got no discussions with him. Look, there was a commission of inquiry done by the ANC that was investigating whether any of their leaders were behind the formation of some parties, including ATM. And that commission of inquiry done by the former Speaker, Dr. Frinjinwala, came with a conclusion that there is no person, senior member of the ANC, that is involved in the formation of the ATM. So for us, you know, Mr. Isma Khashoggi has got nothing to do with the ATM. We are not in talks with him about joining the party. We are focused on preparing towards the national elections of 2024.
you'll be carrying the party towards those elections, but the ATM has developed some allies among other political parties. Who have you invited to your rally, and who are your allies as you turn 5 years old?
Look, as a party, we're a party that is pro-South Africa. We believe that when we work together with all of the parties in Parliament, South Africa will become a better country. We are not hostile to any party. That is why we invited all parties that are in Parliament. Some have confirmed to come, such as the EFF, the ACDP, the PAC. There's also parties that are not in Parliament but exist in some councils. Those parties have already stated they are going to come, like the Land Party, Forum for Service Delivery. So we're a party that is embracing to each and every person. So any party that wants to come even tomorrow will embrace that party, even though they may not be in Parliament or they may not have formally received an invite, because we are that type of a party that embraces everyone.
Thank you. Finally, then, just for our viewers, could you tell us how many members the ATM has now and what kind of support you're projecting in the next election?
We have not done a membership audit for us to know, but we do exist in all 9 provinces, all municipalities, so that on its own is showing presence across the country. When it comes to the support for next year, with us starting the elections campaign now, it is because we want to win the elections, and we've got a clear strategy of making sure that we do indeed win the elections. So that is what we have in mind as we are starting our elections campaign as of tomorrow.
Sure, but I suppose that you don't really expect to win more than 50% of the national vote. What is your percentage that you're targeting?
Look, when you go to elections, you must always go to elections with the objective of winning the elections. You can't go to an exam with a target of getting 50% or 49%. So the same principle applies with us, that our energy, our resources are going to be put with the sole objective of winning the elections. We are not contesting elections to just add numbers. We are contesting the elections to win. If it happens that we don't get the amount of support that we are hoping for, then we are going to deal with that at a later stage. But our intentions of contesting elections is not to just make up numbers. It is to win.
Thank you so much. Mr. Zungula, with the political answer, I think that signals that he's really coming to his own as a political leader in the South African landscape. The ATM, known for challenging former President, or at least challenging President Cyril Ramaphosa in Parliament, especially on the Phala Phala issue. That's what they're most noted for in Parliament. We'll get a better sense of what the support is like on the ground tomorrow at that rally, and tonight here at this TACC gala dinner, we'll get a sense of who the power players are behind the ATM. We know that the support is based in the churches. Tonight we'll hear from one of those churches who've been there since the formation of the ATM and give us an indication of whether they're asking their members to vote for the party at next year's polls. It's back to you for now, Clement.
Govan Whittles, live to us from Gqeberha. Thanks for making time.